always send me stuff when we're on. Like to start the show.
Welcome to the zone where the numbers don't lie.
They always
down, play by play, eye to eye. Stats on the board, heat in the booth, fast takes, deep dives, searching for truth. From the court to the field, it's precision we bring. With a mic and a metric, we dissect everything. Analytics, this, where the game gets real. Feel the data, hear the steel. Crunching numbers, calling plays. Running hot takes every day. Beyond the highlights, behind the scenes, we break it down, no in-betweens. Legacy, power, tactics, and grit. If it's in the game, we're talking it. Analytics, this, say it loud. Analytics. Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. We're live. Do it live.
We will have to do it live. I mean, these things, they always come up, and inevitably it always comes back to this. Do it live! Okay. And do you know what
Good old
happened?
Bill
Do you know
O'Reilly.
what happened today out
What's
in
that?
Berea?
We talking about practice.
Yeah. I love it.
And,
Yes.
and also, there's this other team, and they're playing, and I don't know about it.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the playoffs.
They
We're
made
going
it
to talk
into the
about.
second round. They made it to the second round.
Yeah,
for the
we're gonna
second
talk
year in a
about-
row.
We talking about practice.
Yes, we are going to talk about practice. Rookie minicamp underway.
Rookie minicamp. Yeah, and I heard things. Casey Concepcion dropped the pass and everybody flipped out. Denzel Boston looked awesome. They said they just said they complement each other, which was perfect the way the draft went to get both of them. The other guy that they were talking about was Taylon Green. They didn't realize how big he was.
He's huge. He's like 6'5", right?
He's almost 6'6", and he's 240 pounds.
Yeah, he's a beast.
They Munkin did say they want to try to incorporate him as soon as possible into stuff like you can see the 4th and 1s and the
Sure.
like wildcat situations, which
Absolutely.
he'd be perfect for that.
He would be, but here's a question for you. How does that fit into the plan of a roster spot on game day? You only have so many players that you can have dressed and be able to play, and that would just be a question I would look at and think about as we approach the season and such. So that's something to think about.
Something to think about, but I mean, there's nothing etched in stone for everything.
No. I mean, we could see. I know what we'll do. It'll be Sanders starting, and Green will just be the backup, and Watson will be the emergency quarterback, and we can get rid of Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, we could
Trade
try
him
and
to Atlanta for a 5th round pick.
yeah, I would take him. I'd take a bag of soggy potato chips. We don't even need the pick. Okay. Apparently, a 5th round pick is what Dallas thought they could offer us to sweeten the pot to make that great. Are you kidding me? On the pick is in that program. What if we threw in a 5th round pick? Get the heck out of here, dude.
Did you see Barry's face when he did that? When they said
No, you know what? No, that's not going to do it. We're gonna pick away. But thank you for offering. In his perfect Andrew Barry way.
He basically told him to
Yeah,
off.
in a very nice way, he did. In a very nice way. Yes, Mike, we're talking quarterbacks, but very briefly. We're not. We haven't gotten into the nitty gritty dirt band here. Okay.
He goes, "What up, dogs?"
Exactly. Yeah.
He goes, "You talking quarters?" We did talk quarterbacks. We talked Taylon Green, and he goes, "I'll take a 7th for Dylan Gabriel."
Sure.
Jeez.
Sure. Yeah. Which clown? Well, okay. Let's talk about things that got misconstrued in the media this week.
We could do that.
And things that they went nuts on.
The Sorsby? You want to talk about Sorsby? How they went
Well,
nuts on him?
let me pivot right now. We'll get to Sorsby in a minute because that's a sore subject. And he's going to create some sores on these ass. Oh God, I'm so Rosenberg. Tony Grossi made a comment about Dylan Gabriel in that he just was saying he might actually, if Watson was a starter, he said in theory, or basically Dylan Gabriel might be better suited as a backup. He's not saying he's better than Sanders. He's just saying he'd be better suited as a backup because he's not going to challenge to play, and no one will care if he's the backup. That's my interpretation. Quit blowing it out of proportions and making it as if he's saying that Gabriel is better than Sanders. Get the heck out of here with that nonsense.
He wasn't last year.
No, he stinks. He stinks. Did he get taller over the summer? Hey, it's like you go on the first day of school. Wow, you grew over the summer. Hey, nice mustache. This kid didn't get any taller. This guy stinks.
What is this?
Oh, yeah, for the game about Sorsby.
Oh, no. We're not going to give a first or second for him.
Right,
No,
and that
no.
discussion is absolutely ludicrous.
The Brendan Sorsby. Thanks, Mike. Cavs UK. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing, as we were just chatting, really, what did you think of it when, of course, every time there's a quarterback in question, the Browns, of course, get brought up because we are searching for a quarterback.
But there's other teams that need quarterbacks too. I could see the Cardinals or the Jets making a play for him maybe, but we don't need that.
Well, I don't think anybody does, quite frankly, because it sounds as if this guy might not just be in trouble with college. He may have committed some crimes here with what he did. And
With the gambling or the other stuff?
well, it's the gambling because I think he was. What were they saying? I mean, if he's gambling on his own team, I look. All I know is I don't want any of that nonsense around here. Okay, it's not worth the drama. I don't need that for a minute. Don't need it for a minute. And I don't know why everybody is all like, "Oh, he's so good." Who started this crap? Oh my God!
We need a fifth QB to match what the Ratbirds.
What
are
are the
doing.
What are the Ratbirds doing? How many? Who do they? I'd love to hear this from Mike. I don't know. He'll have to fill me in.
Yeah,
but
fill us in on that because we're really not.
I'm not concentrating on the rat turds.
I do know that the Pittsburgh media was going crazy because they thought Aaron Rodgers was going to the Cardinals, but he's going to be in Pittsburgh. He's in Pittsburgh this weekend.
Well, they made the deal. They made that set up in such a way he can't go. Like if he can't just like willy nilly leave. He's under contract. Or they made it so it's like he's
a tender. They put a tender on him.
Right, and he's not going anywhere anyway. And thank you. They can be mediocre again this year.
I was saying, was it you I talked about this where 9-8 could win the division?
It's possible.
Games. They won it. They won it last year, and it came down to a missed field goal between Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Yeah,
it's quite. I could see that happening. Obviously, Cincinnati is. So if we look at the division, and the great thing is we're going to get the schedule release on Thursday, and there's going to be various national games and things of that nature dropping over the next couple of days, or probably starting sometime Monday, Tuesday. Little things will get dropped. Did you find? Put a pin in that because I want to ask you about the post from the NFL and if you found it interesting about Myles Garrett being on it and what that may or may not mean in terms of the Browns' possible schedule. Having some prime games. I don't know. But the Cincinnati Bengals in the division, I don't think they improved a lot. And you still have the same coach. But they're the most stable right now. They're the only team with the same coach this year. If Burrow is healthy, they've got a good offense. It's really the offensive line and the defense as a whole. And in theory, if they improve that, which I can't say that they have, Hendrickson leaves, and who did they brought in? From Dexter Lawrence, Sexy Dexy, from New York.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that they're going to be any
gave
worse.
Up their 10th round pick, their 10th overall pick.
Right. I feel like they have a chance to excel this year with a healthy Burrow.
Okay. that's the thing.
Yeah, that's the caveat. Is
Yeah.
he
That's what
going
I'm
to be
saying. He's
healthy?
probably he gets hurt once a year.
Yeah, and then he misses a bunch of games, and it kind of
Yeah.
that's a big knock you have to consider. Pittsburgh, I think, is still at a bit of a loss. Now they're going to get a veteran coach in Mike McCarthy in there. Obviously, he's worked with Aaron Rodgers before, and now apparently Rodgers is still going to be there. But I don't
At
think they have
43. He's
Right.
43.
exactly. And then if he goes down, I guess the depth chart, Simpson will be back up. Maybe. I would assume so. They drafted him in the first round, right? And you know the unrest in Pittsburgh is going to grow.
Who? You talking about Drew Aller or Will Howard?
No, I said Ty Simpson.
Ty Simpson went to the Rams.
Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Drew Aller. I'm
Drew
losing
Aller.
my mind.
They drafted
oh my
Drew
gosh.
Aller in the third round, and that's why I kind of got. Was like,
I'm
who-
sorry.
Yeah, he went to the Rams. He went to the Rams with the 13th overall
That's
pick, and
right.
people were kind of surprised.
Okay.
I thought he was overrated. I didn't.
Oh,
I didn't,
definitely. So, okay, I am sorry. My brain is on overload, so I apologize for that. So let me.
They
but-
should have just
so-
signed the trade, and then drafted Caleb Downs. Yeah, the Bengals could have done that.
Right. So they ended. So right. So it's Aller and Will Howard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think either of those guys are going to light up anything.
No.
Aller at one point. I mean, now he has a lot of physical tools,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Mike. You
he's
meant the
talking-
Bengals.
yeah, I
we
gotcha.
know.
but Will Howard, I liked him at Ohio State, obviously, but
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
I don't think he is more than a serviceable quarterback.
He went in the sixth round for a reason.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And Aller, obviously, his draft stock fell so much because of the ineptitude of the offense at Penn State. And then he, of course, has his injury, but he's, recovered from that. So we'll see. He's got physical tools. Maybe sitting under Rodgers, a la the Green Bay model, will serve him well. You got a coach like McCarthy who kind of worked through and with this type of circumstance. Maybe that'll serve him well. And then you look at the Ravens, and they, of course, have a new coach in Jesse Minter. But their bugaboo, I mean, certainly they've had problems in games over the past few years of blowing leads, which is had been uncharacteristic of a normally defensively oriented team like Baltimore. The offense is always a question mark. You've got, you still have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson keeps getting hurt. And he
Derrick
wasn't.
Henry's not a spring chicken.
No, he's not. And I honestly, I'm not that impressed with their wide receivers. I don't care what they say. I'm not a fan. I don't think Zay Flowers is all that in a bag of chips. I don't think Rashad Bateman's all that in a bag of chips. I'm sorry. I just don't feel like that. And Mark Andrews is getting old. You're right. I think ultimately a 9-8 record could win.
Yeah, Mike was saying 8. You even said 8-9 to you or 9-8 to you.
Yeah,
so
and
like,
it's possible. But here's going to be the interesting thing.
what's that?
It's going to be kind of a question of when do you play certain teams?
That's true. How the schedule kind of falls
How
together.
it falls out can make a very big difference if you're on the road and difficult games early and you're stumbling and doing terrible, then maybe by the time you get to the easier part of the schedule, you're screwed. What did we talk about last year with the Browns? The first 6 games.
We're horrible.
It was a tough schedule, and we were hoping you could come out of it. Maybe
We were, 1-5, I think.
we went 1-5, and we could have been better. But we knew coming out of it, when we saw that schedule come out, we knew it wasn't going to be good. It was going to be rough.
Well, I knew it was going to be rough when we had to go to London, come back, and then go to Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, right.
Pittsburgh was coming off their bye week, and Minnesota was already out in London for a week, so they were used to the time change.
Right. And and ultimately, if you look at it, we got a fluke win against Green Bay, but we blew the game to the Bengals.
Yep.
Our offense
We
was
got a fluke win on the Bengals at the end of the season.
right. So that kind of, and
It
our
evened it out, yeah.
and our defense was, our offense was.
Mike's hoping for a loaded division at the end of the season.
See, so what it's going to be, and I think they always set you up for I mean, you're going to begin the season. They not always.
Do you see Stefanski coaching the Falcons in the opener here?
Now that'll be a fun. That's an interesting question.
But
Do
go
you see
ahead.
the
I just
what about the
wanna
what
throw-
about the Browns in Tampa Bay for the opener?
At Tampa Bay?
The game is on the road.
That could happen.
I think the NFL will be looking for something like that. If not a division type thing, I'd have to look at all of the opponents to consider what it might be. But yeah, Stefanski at home.
That would be hilarious.
Oh, it would be. It would be something. I'm wondering.
I would rather play in Tampa when it's not so hot. Maybe
bingo.
Like October.
Yeah,
November.
bingo. Although the rain is so bad sometimes there, and that's just annoying. It's either too hot or it's rainy and it's miserable. So I don't. Whatever. Just let's get the schedule. Let's start figuring it out. Let's see what these guys are going to do. I'm ready for them to play. Am I the only one who's sick and tired of all this nonsensical discussion and is just ready for them to play?
I'm ready for at least training camp to start. At least
Definitely.
preseason. Yeah.
Definitely. I want to see these guys. What is your first impression or early impressions of Todd Monken?
I gotta tell you, I was talking about the
Yeah,
Falcons game.
hilarious. Yeah. We got you.
We
Gotcha.
got you. We know. Okay, we got
So,
you.
so
Okay,
what
he was talking
are
about
what
the
are your
Falcons.
early impressions?
Well, from what I heard, this is the reports that I've been hearing, is that he's had these guys practicing hard just in this rookie mini camp and the voluntary OTAs before the draft. So I got a feeling he's going to work these guys.
Yeah.
So he's a no nonsense. Let's go. Here we are. It seems like I'll tell you what. I want to see it on the field, but I so far so good. I love it when Mary Kay Cabot, like, they're in the draft press conference day 2. I think they took Austin Barber, they took EMW, like Emerson McNeil
Warren, yep. Mhm.
Warren, and they took Denzel Boston. Which, wow, what a haul!
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I guess Austin Barber's like he's like 6'7", 320 pounds. He's a giant. He's not quite as big as DeJuan Jones, but he's a big dude. And Mary Kay just starts asking him about the practices and how Deshaun and Shador looked. And it's like almost like she was planting that seed to come out and say about Deshaun having the inside track. And he just can we talk about the draft?
Right.
He was kind of fed up with it. He's like, can we at least get through the draft? I mean,
Here's what I think, and I can't remember if this was something that was said to me directly, or it was something during ESPN Cleveland, and Grossi was talking about it, and maybe I'm forgetting this, but essentially, if you don't ask the questions, you don't know the answer. You have to. Look. She is planting a seed, and that is the way you do it, actually. You ask a question to be able to further whatever your story is, whatever the storylines are, whatever the answer is.
right.
But you ask it, yes, she does have an agenda in terms of, I want to be able to cover this. This is what I need to know about. So if he would have, whatever he would have said, she could have taken it one way or the other. And so, as we were discussing earlier, I think that people are taking the fact that they don't like what reporters and media says and saying they're lying. When they're not lying, they're simply they're creating a story. If they have sources, that's not a lie. And then there's other times they are editorializing. They are giving their opinion. That is not meant to be factual. It's an opinion based on information you have. So I really get tired of that. Exactly. And she's well within her right to have an opinion on it. Exactly. And so are all these people. Just like every national reporter that talks about everything. Kellen Mond has an opinion. Do you remember Kellen Mond? Mm-hmm. He has an opinion on it. Get the heck... So if you want to talk about stuff, let's get down to it. You're allowed to have an opinion. just like you and I and Mike and anybody else, we're allowed to have an opinion. It's not a lie. It's just an opinion.
Right. Well, I mean, I think Mary Kay Cabot did have a source on the Deshaun inside track
She
thing.
absolutely has a source, and she has to trust those people.
Whether it's a coach or a personnel person or somebody else, I don't know. I don't know who it is.
But it's somebody. They
It
wouldn't
is
let
somebody.
her employer would not let her say that or reference it if they didn't feel she had reliable sources. And she's been doing this for how long?
Oh, 30 years at least.
Right.
Yeah.
She and Grossi have been in forever, and she broke down the door essentially, like literally and figuratively. I think I heard her talk about a story about going into the locker room back in the day to be able to get in there when at that time female reporters really weren't in there. And so I give her much credit. So I'm really, really tired of everybody crapping on all the people. I mean, your buddies with Daryl Ryder, he gets crapped on. Grossi gets crapped on. Mary Kay gets crapped on. I'm like, come on, folks. Can we just stop? I tried to look up, interestingly. I was curious to find out. The only other beat reporter I could think of off the top of my head for another team was Jerry Dulac for the Steelers, who's been around forever. And I was curious, and I couldn't find as much on him as like Grossi and I couldn't find much in the way of like, oh, he's controversial, they don't like him, blah, 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 blah. It's crazy to me. So, yeah, so talking about the press conference, so first of all, yeah, what a haul. What a haul. I mean, that was a hell of a job. If it turns out the way we hope, and that I'm
like
really
last year's
pleased with it.
draft? Like last year's draft?
Exactly. If it turns out that way, I will be very, very pleased. You mentioned the receivers. The combination of Boston and Concepcion, adding them to this group is a huge upgrade. You've got a fast guy, a guy who can break it in Concepcion. You've got a guy in Boston who can go up and win a 50-50 ball. And in theory, if you have all of these things going on, remember you still got Isaiah Bond. You do have Jerry Jeudy. You've got Harold Fannin. You got Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson. So you've got a lot of possibilities out there. For Jerry Jeudy, if the pressure is not all on him, and if the quarterback is delivering the ball on time, I think I don't know if you were saying this or somebody else was saying this if I was reading it, or basically eventually the ball's not getting to you. You're wide open. The quarterback can't get you the ball. Then you get it. You finally get it thrown to you. You drop it. It's just a whole bad situation there.
Right.
And at this point, if we can get some good quarterback play, there's a real opportunity for this offense to be pretty darn good. Where I will credit Todd Monken is if he can say, look, I'm going to do what it takes to win. And you mentioned Todd Monken and his attitude. He may not get another shot. He's going to win. He's 60 years old. He may not get another head coaching job. And he's not going to go out there and screw around. He's going to work these guys because he wants to win.
Well, it's interesting. There's two different conflicting stories, which Mike, thanks, Mike. He wanted Boston at 24, trade back into the first round to get Emmanuel McNeil-Warren.
And then we both got both guys.
We got them, both of them in round two. The way we got them was just amazing. I think, yeah, Steve was on here with me when that happened. But I think I saw two conflicting stories. One was, I want to say, saying that they were on the hot seat, which I think was Bleacher Report saying that. Hold on, throw your arms up. One said the Bleacher Report was saying that he hasn't even had a training camp yet, hasn't had a full mandatory OTA or mini camp. Just the draft just happened, but both Andrew Berry and Monken are on the hot seat this year. Then there's another story, the Heavy.com. You know what I'm talking about? Those guys.
I've heard of it, and I think I've probably not read it. But
I just perused it. I didn't deeply read it, but it was showing that they're tanking, or not. They're tanking. They're going to tank. They're going to try to tank for Arch Manning. So,
well, that's their opinion because that's not based in any the same people. Again,
this team's not tanking this year.
Well, Todd Monken ain't tanking. Now,
No.
they could be trying to screw him. They might be bringing him in and telling him one thing, and they're like, yeah, basically, dude, if you win, good luck. We'll be right behind you, and we're going to act all jovial. But if you lose, okay, sayonara, we'll get the first pick, and we'll toss you to the side. I'm just saying, and this is where, pardon me, but, and because, Lou, you've done a lot of writing. You've done a lot of writing. But would you say that a lot of your writing, it's based on information and it's your take on things, right? Without necessarily, you haven't talked to these people. You haven't,
not directly. No.
Right.
I give my take, but I back it up with data,
information,
and stats and
right?
everything, yeah.
And so that's fair. But at the end of the day, these are all kind of our analysis and our opinions, as opposed to I am writing a fact-based XYZ, I have asked this person this question. And in fact, most of these things, you ask a question, you don't get a direct answer. And then you expound upon it. But yeah, for them to both be on the hot seat, Barry, I would say, is less on the hot seat right now. Absolutely not on the hot seat after that draft. And then, Mike's comment, you better sit all the starters for the season then if they want to tank, because we're not losing more games than we did last year. He's right. We've got a better roster this year than we did last year.
They invested so much money just in the offensive line and so much in the offense.
A la the Bears to try and rebuild all that.
And they made it. They went to the divisional round of the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and they were they were in it. They could have won.
They could have went to the NFC Championship. Yeah.
I mean, it was really crazy how that all went down. But yeah, first of all, I want Monken to succeed.
Of course.
I want the team to succeed.
Yes.
And he would be silly to try to tank, or that would be ridiculous. And I don't think Jimmy Haslam is investing to tank. He's got to think about it. And again, this has actually been mentioned in a different way. They talked about how he was so busy with the stadium stuff, it was kind of taking away from focusing on the team. Well, all right, now the stadium stuff, the dirt shovels are in the dirt, and the dirt is moving.
The crew's working on it.
Exactly. And now he needs to start building this team so when they open that stadium, people don't just go for the, just to check out the stadium. They actually go there to see the team.
Right. Also, do you remember what he said the day after the season ended and Stefanski was let go?
Refresh my memory.
He said, "This isn't good enough. We deserve better.
Right.
You deserve better, and we're going to get better." That's not a guy that's tanking.
I don't think so. I mean, I think he's made mistakes, certainly.
Of course.
And that
I
happened.
wouldn't argue with you on that.
But he has to learn from it, and I would hope that you would. If the longer you do a job, you better learn something, right? I know you don't fire yourself per se as the owner of the business, but if you want it to continue to be successful, you have to learn a few things. And I believe that what they're trying to do is, it seems to be on a different trajectory now. We don't know for sure, but it sure as heck feels like, they won't admit it, that between last year's draft and this year's draft, Paul DePodesta being gone this year and maybe less involved last year made a difference in the draft picks that we ended up with, and look at the success rate. We're going to have to wait and see how it turns out this year, but it looks like on paper it was a very, very successful draft for Andrew Berry and the Browns. Right. And the one thing that still nobody seems to know a for sure answer on, and this is up for debate, is who will ultimately, or who really is going to make the call or the decision on the quarterback and other decisions of that nature, because some people still think that there's going to be meddling from Haslam, or Barry's going to send down a directive, and I certainly hope not.
No.
They've got to let Monken do the job.
I hope
they just
it's
have
Monken.
to.
Well, the divisional round, the Rams won 20-17.
Yeah, that was did it go to overtime? I believe
I
when
don't think it did. No. I just went and looked it up real quick, but yeah,
It better be.
Monk.
It better be Monk.
Well, you hired him. You hired him to do the job. Let him do his job.
Exactly. And,
Well,
and
What did we talk about before the show? Everybody's saying about Watson having the inside track. I just sitting there thinking, I remember 2024. He looked horrible.
right. And I don't know what changed between then and now other than the coach, right? And the coach has nothing to do with him not being able to hit the broadside of a barn. Now, one could say maybe mentally he was just screwed up. Maybe he was just in such a bad place. Maybe he couldn't get it right. I don't know. I don't buy into that theory. And now he's been gone even longer. What did they say? He's played in 6 seasons. He's played 19 games, I believe.
He's been out 700 days.
Yeah,
700 days.
So, like,
Since he
when
last
he's winning the underwear Olympics, as the people say, I'm not all going to get overblow that.
No.
He should be ahead of guys like Sanders or Gabriel or even Green,
Yeah.
because he obviously has the most experience. However, if, as we were discussing, there's no world in which I heard just today, we're not alone on this thinking, Jason Lloyd talking about it. It sounds as if Watson may have the inside track or edge, but I don't. But as he said, it doesn't make any sense for him to be the starter. Like,
No.
what happens if he does well, and then he doesn't? You don't do great. You do all right. You win some games. You end up with a pick somewhere in the teens in the first round, and then he doesn't come back, or he does a little bit better than that and wants a boatload of money. But you're like, we're not recommitting all this money to him. And you still hadn't played Sanders. Now, that obviously says this is what you really think about Sanders anyway. And you were going to plan on drafting a quarterback. But now you don't have a possibility to get the pick, and the other guy's gone. I could see these things happening. It doesn't take a genius to see how bad of an idea this is. I don't even know, man.
No, because we could see what we have with Shador. He played 7 games.
Yeah.
He won 3. He made mistakes, which he would. A rookie does that. And there's times he looked good. There's times he didn't look so good.
Yep.
And I'll be honest, just see what you got in him. I mean, you put a better supporting cast around him, plus
And a
with the
better
run game.
game plan.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's face it, the offensive line was battered last year for all of them. For Flacco, for Gabriel, for Sanders. And yeah, there were some head-scratching things that Sanders did. That's his biggest flaw, is he's thinking it's a strength and a weakness at the same time, in how he was able to play at Colorado with Travis Hunter, where he could just chuck the ball up, and Travis Hunter was so good, and the caliber of the defensive backs he was playing against, he could make those plays. But you can't do that in the NFL. And because the defenses are so much better and so much faster, and also the Browns didn't have a wide receiver of that same caliber as Travis Hunter to be able to do those types of things. But now, if you've got a better designed offense, a better offensive line, I think he can be successful. The kid seems like a really smart and good kid and willing to learn. Oh,
Has he bulked up? I haven't seen
I don't
him.
know. I mean,
don't know.
I'd be curious to check like a media guide. I mean, I can't say one way or another. Look at this guy. You pump.
I came straight from the gym, guys. I had to get a workout in before the show. I had to clear my head to do this show with Ethan.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's absolutely right. To do anything with me is clearing
No,
your
it had
head.
nothing to
Hey,
do
now.
with you, man. It had nothing to do with you. It's just like sometimes you go on Twitter and you just go, really? It's really?
Yeah. It was a real poop show today. It's been a poop show all week, especially with some of the other stuff going on in town that we won't mention, and I won't get my blood pressure up over.
Oh, the Cavs stuff. You want to talk about that?
No, I'll save my blood pressure and my sadness for tomorrow.
Yeah, just like I said, you can only worry about what you can control.
And there it is. There it is. Although I threw out to you, I actually threw it out to Mike as well before. But wouldn't it be funny if Jimmy Haslam becomes a legend in this town for a championship, except it's not a Browns Super Bowl title, it's a Cavs championship?
How would he facilitate that?
Well,
I wanna hear.
if he somehow contributes to the Bucks trading Giannis for Mobley,
We won't talk about James Harden. Don't worry.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
then we win a title with Giannis as the centerpiece with like Mitchell, would that not be the funniest thing ever? Like if he somehow contributed to a title in Cleveland, except it's with the Cavs,
That would be.
it would be the only in Cleveland thing ever.
Yeah, but I don't see the Bucks doing that.
Oh, you don't? There. Where
I'll believe it when I see it. Like when I hear about Watson balling out and
All
looking
right.
great this year, I'll believe it when I see it.
No, I get it. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be against it though. Let me tell you.
I wouldn't be against it. No, I just don't see it happening. That's all I
mean,
said.
Yeah, no. Hey, let's. You know what? That is something though. I would be for a bazillion percent.
Oh, I would love it. Yeah, it would be awesome.
I've had it with Harden and Mobley, and I'm done with them. But the Browns, on the other hand. So let's talk. What do you think about just in general? JOK put on the pup. I mean, he's never playing again.
He can't get medically cleared.
Right,
That's
and
why.
that's fine. But at least, I guess, am I reading right though? With what they did with the physically unable to perform, he's allowed to be at the facility, and they can do all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
That's
he can still be a
great.
part of it. Yeah, he can
That's
still be a part
great.
of
I
it.
mean, it sucks so badly that he suffered that injury. It wasn't even like a dirty, like the Nick Chubb thing felt like
It was
whether
dirty.
it was dirty. The thing with JOK was nothing dirty about it. It just, man, Derrick Henry's a beast. And gets, you take a shoulder to the neck, head area, and you're toast. It's unfortunate.
It's a dangerous game, guys.
It is. It really, really is.
Oh, jeez. I just saw Mike's comment. Kenny Atkins is a Stefanski 2.0.
No, he is. Did you? His press conference was so bad. I mean, he literally came out and said, "Well, I don't know what's wrong with our slow starts. The energy, I haven't figured it
Nick
out."
Chubb currently has no team.
That's
Yeah,
another thing. Neither does
Yeah.
David Njoku.
Yeah.
Not that I need all these people back, but it's interesting. But he's like, no, we don't run a lot of sets. Maybe you should change that because what you're doing isn't working, and everybody figures out you're playing iso ball, and nobody can get open, and then you're even
turning
furthering
the ball over. The turnovers keep happening.
well, you're furthering the James Harden problem because there's nowhere to go. He's doing as Kenny Roadman Rhoda would say, he's doing the stanky leg out there and dribbling till there's 3 seconds on the shot clock and hoisting. Or he's trying to squeeze through triple teams and getting it taken away. It's terrible. I can't believe that's the strategy they're going with. Run some offense. John Wooden would be turning over in his grave.
I thought we were going back to the Browns.
Yeah, we're going back to Browns. Nick Chubb, right? Hell of a guy.
Hell of a guy. Wish he would stay here. So,
I mean, I think that they made the correct move. Not from a sentimental perspective, I would have loved for them to have kept him, but I think from a logical perspective, they did what they should have done. And you think about it, we've got a pretty good running back room right now.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the kid last year, the Rocket, Raheem.
Rocket Sanders, yeah,
Rocket Sanders.
he's not
Wow.
too shabby.
Wow. I remember watching him. I'm like, where did this guy come from? We're all looking at each other, sitting in the
Yeah.
stands going, this guy's playing pretty good. He's running the ball hard. You can't ask anymore.
Definitely, and I think he's more an equitable. If you were comparing apples to apples, feels like he's closer to like a Judkins than Sampson is. Sampson, it's like if you're talking smash and dash, I guess is what I would go with. So like,
Yeah. He's
Judkins,
not a power
Judkins,
back.
Sanders are more smash. Sampson is more dash.
Yeah, he's kind of a change of pace, scat back type of guy.
And we do have a fullback, bingo.
Yes.
We do have a fullback. I think we need to talk fullbacks. Let's talk about fullback. No, who are some of the greatest fullbacks ever? That we've had, and not named.
had?
I'm trying to think who we've had in the past that I love fullback wise. Let's see. Vardell was a running back. What was Tim Manoa?
He was a fullback.
Was Manoa?
Kevin Mack was too. Yeah.
Kevin Mack, and that's crazy. You think about him and Biner and the fact they both had 1,000 rushing yards that one year. I mean, that's unreal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think what it was is the size of the shoulder pads.
Well, that was Marty calling the plays before they brought in Lindy and Fonny, and Kozar's like, I could do this offense in my sleep. You know what's going on here. So.
Oh my!
Yeah.
I mean, Bernie Kosar, what a just. He had such a great mind. And that's the other thing that bugs the snot out of me when people are talking about that stupid sore on my ass, Sorsby, in the supplemental draft. Don't you ever try and put him and Bernie Kosar in the same sentence. Bernie Kosar was so
He's a
smart. He
first-round talent. Yeah,
he
he's
had
a
finished
first-round
Miami. Look, they used a loophole to manipulate it to get to the Browns. But his loophole was he was so damn smart, he was graduating Miami in 2 years. Now, the classes were underwater no, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
No, he graduated early. They said, I graduated. What are you stopping me? So.
Right. And exactly. They used, like I said, a little bit of a loophole,
He
manipulated
almost
it.
became a Viking. He almost became a Minnesota Viking. He had a choice. The commissioner just went, well, where do you want to play? He goes, I want to play in Cleveland.
We were very fortunate to have that. But please do not try and put Sorsby in that same sentence. And I don't. And the last thing I want around this city is another person with a problem and a gambling problem, because look what it's done. Look what it did to the Guardians and that goofball Clase.
Guardians. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're up 5-3 in the 8th.
Is it 5-3? No, it was 4-3. But just when
they got a run back, but they're up 5-3. Runners on the corners, as far as I can see, with one down in the 8th.
Is it in Minnesota or is it in
No,
Cleveland?
it's in Cleveland. It's down the road from me.
It's downtown. Okay.
It's at the corner of Carnegie and Ontario, and Travis Bazana had his first career Major League home run tonight, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, Hamilton's not on the call. I don't know if Apple TV brought him in or something, but he's not on the call for the home run, and I'm really pissed.
Oh, well, all right.
Anyway,
the Sorsby thing, no. That's just a shiny thing to talk about. Something, content creation. I was just a little quick story. I was listening to an AFC North roundtable podcast, and the Cleveland guy was Quincy Carrier, and there's people from around the AFC North, and the Pittsburgh guy was just saying Aaron Rodgers is signing with the Steelers. This is all BS. It's just content creation. It's just people trying to just. I think that's the environment we live in. Is that these people? This is their job, is to get people to engage. It's almost like engagement farming. I don't want to say clickbaiting, but
you create a narrative and a story, but it's not necessarily. They're not saying it's factual. It's just they're throwing it out there, seeing what's going to stick and what people want to talk about. But I don't necessarily love it. In fact, I kind of hate it, because a lot of times people see these things and they take it as factual. And that's where it just drives me nuts because of my work or my schooling in journalism and such. I find that awful, because people buy these things hook, line, and sinker. Oh, I saw it on the internet, so it must be true, right?
Yes, click. It's on the internet. It's true.
It absolutely is. Like, how many people said, like, what was it? They said, like, what were the stories? Like, Myles Garrett's parents or dad is ill or something. Do you remember that? Like, I can't remember what they joke about it. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Or when he was asking for the trade. One of the best timing I ever had for one of my articles dropping was because he went to the owner, and the owner said, no, talk to Barry.
Yep.
And what I did was I did an article saying, this is good. This is a good sign. This means that, they're standing firm. And that morning, my article came out, and 3 hours later, the news hit that he signed an extension.
Yep.
So it's like, and I was telling the guy at Fans First and Pro Football Insiders, I was just like, this was perfect. I said, this was absolutely perfect the way it hit. And he said, yeah, timing's everything sometimes, because when I hear dysfunction, I'm like, we're not dysfunctional. I don't see the dysfunction.
Right. Not at this point. I would say there
No.
were probably times
Maybe 2
in the
years
past.
ago or 3 years ago, you might have said that with the Watson thing. But that was the owner making that happen. And the
Right.
owner
And
can do what
and
he
why do
wants.
why do you think he doesn't like it when he hears the words dysfunctional? Because he knows
It's about him.
It's about him, and it falls
Yeah.
on him. So yeah, I think right now things are going all right, and they're in
Yeah.
a good position. Sans having an answer that we can say this is for sure our answer at
Right.
the quarterback position. Other than that, I feel like you're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
I know. What do you make of the people who feel like we should trade for assets? We should trade Myles Garrett for assets.
No.
No. Well, I mean, the salary cap ramifications first and foremost. I don't even know how you'd pull that one off.
No.
Second of all, I understand the argument. Well, how many Super Bowls have we won with him? Come on. Yeah, it's a great debate. But I could say the same. What are you going to do without him when he's not on the field? We saw what happened
To
the year.
Dallas.
Well,
Look what happened to Dallas last year when they traded away Micah Parsons.
Well, right.
Huge hole in their
Well,
defense.
let's talk. I heard they recapped this and we're talking about it, and I've forgotten where they were at the time this occurred. What happened when Myles Garrett got suspended for 6 weeks or whatever it is after smashing
that was in
Mason Rudolph?
2018.
Right, and we were
2019.
It was in 2019, and we were still in the thing. And then he goes and he whacks him over the head, and Mason Rudolph, and gets suspended. And then what did we do without
suspended
him?
Indefinitely. Yeah, he spent the rest of the season. Oh, we didn't win another game.
Right, we were terrible. And you mean to tell me that you think our defense will be fine without? That's a ridiculous idea. And you can't. If you he's got a no trade clause. He's not going to a garbage team that's going to be picking at the top of the draft.
Nope.
He's not going to take that trade. You're going to have to trade him to a Super Bowl contender that's picking in like the high 20s or 30. Then what are you going to do? Then what's it going to be? Get the heck out of here with this stuff. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever when they suggest these things. I feel like, again, this goes back to what we were discussing before. It's people just throwing stuff at a wall for the purpose of creating discussion that, well, hell, we're having it now. There it is.
Yeah.
They've done their job.
People have come to me as, well, what do we trade Myles Garrett? We get 3 firsts or 5 firsts. And I'm like, I said, no, they're not going to do it.
No, they're not. And
They're
again,
not going to do it.
like, I know what I do. I can see this point, though. If the idea is to sell, buy low, sell high, you'd be selling at like a high point, his high value, right? And maybe
Right.
even before this past season, it was great. It was really dang good. And then he gets defensive play, or then he sets a sack record and all that stuff. I could make that argument. I could see that. But
I don't want 3 picks, 29 through 32 in the first.
right.
Right.
No, that's exactly right. He's exactly right. And so I don't think you'd get the value you think you'd get. In theory, yeah, you might be able to if you were even able to financially do it, then you get younger you get younger and cheaper. Younger and less expensive, but that doesn't mean you get better. You don't trade away a Hall of Famer. And he's still got a lot of great football in him. He's a game wrecker. He's a game wrecker. How many times have we seen guys? What was the joke? Who were they playing? Tennessee, and he's like, he's running back and forth, and that was when Vrabel was coaching them, and he's trying to motion people in and out, and they're trying to track him, and he still gets the sack.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And then he's doing the move on like Joe Burrow where he's pretending to play basketball, dribbling between the
it's right in
legs.
front, like, I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Exactly. So I just, in fact, he won us the Steelers game because Aaron Rodgers didn't want to go down in history as having taken that sack that set the record. So he's just throwing the ball to whomever and going, and that was dumb as well, going after Denzel.
They were so scared of him.
Yes,
they
exactly.
Yeah. I remember I was at the game. I'm just like, I said, Mike, I've never seen anything like this. The Steelers were scared of the Browns.
They lost that game, and had they not made the playoffs, they would have only had themselves to blame because they lost that
Yeah.
game simply because they were afraid that Garrett was going to get that sack.
You get that sack record, but you could win the game. So I mean, which would you choose? I mean,
Yeah, and yep, it's
it nearly cost them a playoff spot.
yeah.
They got lucky because
Yeah.
the Baltimore kicker missed that field goal, what he should have made.
Bingo. I mean, it's that's how close it is, and for them to
Then
sacrifice
they got
that.
railed. They got destroyed in the playoffs by the Texans at home.
And the Texans weren't even that good.
No.
That's
No.
that just shows, and so that's why, as we kind of swivel back a little bit, we talked about the AFC North.
Yeah.
I don't know how much the Steelers improved.
Very little. I don't see it. I saw, they brought in Pittman. I
Okay,
really haven't
great.
paid attention to what they've done. Look what the Browns did, though. They have all new starters on offensive line, I should say. They drafted 2 receivers. They drafted a tight end.
Multiple tight ends.
Multiple tight ends. Yeah, they still have Harold Fanon. I think the thing is if I honestly believe, this is just me, this is what I'm seeing, and I've disagreed with Lysandra on this too. She thinks Watson's going to ball out. I said I'm skeptical just because of the injuries and the time away. I think the guy to go with is Shador, and I'm not just saying that just to be a homer, but I'm saying I think he's the best guy we can right now. Let's see what we got with this kid. If we have like a Brock Osweiler situation and we have our starter, we don't have to worry about quarterback next year.
Right,
It's win-win.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is, and that's that. So what I said to the fellas on Going Nuclear this week was,
Yeah.
what if I did a blind resume test, right? And you know how it is, like they'll talk about come NCAA tournament time, like in March Madness, like these are the blind resumes. Who would you pick? And we sort of touched on this earlier. If I showed you a blind resume of Shador Sanders, of Dylan Gabriel, of Deshaun Watson,
The last 7 games.
yeah, 7, whatever it is. All I'm saying, if I showed you those things and you looked at them in totality without any other information, and you just looked at the numbers, you didn't know any of the backstories, I'm like, oh, I want this guy. He's got a lot of yards, hey, I'll take. Now, then you pull back the curtain and you say, this guy's been injured. He's had all this stuff. He's barely played. He's looked terrible, blah, 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 blah. And this guy's a rookie and so on. And so you start factoring in everything else. The best case scenario is if Sanders is the guy you roll with and you get to find out either he's good or he's not. And if he's great, awesome. If he's not, okay, you're back to the drawing board.
It's a 5th round pick. No big deal.
If Watson turns out to does well this season, he could price himself out of the market for us. He won't come back for cheap, and we're not going to spend a butt ton of money on him. We're then stuck in a mid to late 1st round pick. We're not going to be close to the quarterback. We won't know anything about Sanders. We'll be screwed again, yet again. So I say you need to go all in with Sanders. The guys like him. They believe in him. And
Right.
I that's where I'd go with it.
Yeah, I think the team wants Sanders to start.
I think they do.
I think they do,
believe
including
they do.
Myles Garrett. I think Myles does too. I'm not in Myles Garrett's head, but I saw his reaction to plays that he made. I mean, we won 5 games last year with an offense that was either ranked 30th to 32nd, depending on how you looked at it.
Right.
We're
It
the
was
bottom
horrible.
3.
By the
We're
metrics, it
bottom
was
3.
terrible.
It was just god awful offense, and we made a huge investment in the offense, especially offensive line this year. You put pieces around him. He showed some promise. I would say that he made some plays. He won a couple games. I mean, that Tennessee game, he balled out. That was great. And I said, let's see what we got. Let's just see what do we have to lose to see what we got with a 5th round pick, because we already know what we have with Watson, a 30-year-old quarterback with 2 torn Achilles and a bum shoulder. Not going to work. I'm sorry.
No. Even if you were to, let me ask you this, because this is just something that popped into my head. How many years older is he than like Sam Darnold? Because Watson
Sam
was in
Darnold's-
about.
Oh, go ahead. Watson was the year. I think Sam Darnold's 1 year younger. Watson was 2017.
Okay. So it's not that far off in terms of the age because you see some players, if they're in the right situation, they can resurrect what was looked awful. And I think that's what some people might think could happen. And they're saying, based upon once upon a time when Watson was really good, we could get maybe Monken can get that out of him. Let's go with it. But I don't think that is going to happen
Nope.
for a number of reasons. And then even if it does go that way, where does that leave us? He's not under contract after this year. And you think he's going to stay here? He didn't want to be here in the first place.
No,
And are we going to pay him more than the best of the best? Heck, at this age and with his injury history, no. I mean, barring him winning the Super Bowl, you're not keeping him.
No, I don't think they are.
No, I would be much happier and feel better if the Browns went into this season to give a long, hard look at Shedeur Sanders with a more competent offense, a more competent offensive line, and a different coaching staff. It was pretty clear that, unfortunately, as nice of a person as he was, Stefanski had lost the team and he had lost the locker room, and his plans were just not working to the way
offense
that
was not working. That's for sure.
No, it wasn't. He's a system type of guy, and when we didn't have, I also don't think we had necessarily the right personnel to make it work. Starting with the offensive line.
Yeah, we didn't have anybody.
If you can't run the ball effectively for Stefanski's offense, you're in trouble. You need to be able to run the ball because you need to be able to do play action.
And be ahead of the sticks and not have penalties. Avoid 1
Bingo.
and 15, second and 17.
Bingo. And we weren't, and that's another problem. We were so undisciplined, and nothing ever happened. And that's where Mike's comment about Kenny Atkinson being Stefanski 2.0. Harden keeps making mistakes. This player keeps making mistakes. Yet you you leave them in the game. You're like, at what point do you discipline them and say, we're not putting up for this? This is not good enough. You need to go sit down.
Right.
And we'll see what happens here. And I'm very.
Yeah. Do you think this is the last question I have for you before we wrap this up?
Yeah.
With all these new players together on offense, do you think it's going to take time for the offense to gel?
Yeah.
Like 4 to 6 games. Just be playing devil's advocate with you.
Actually, yes and no.
Okay.
I think it's going to get better the longer they're together, right? Like you said, 4 to 6 games. I also believe that if he runs a tougher training camp, they can come together sooner than you'd think.
Do you see a lot of preseason games there? They play a lot of reps.
I see them definitely getting some solid playing time. I don't think Monken is, for lack of a better term, he's old school. He's old school. At 60 years old, he's not one of these, let's take it easy. Let's rely on this data point and that data point, and we need to rest this guy. Sure, there are going to be guys that aren't going to be playing, but there's going to be competition. And believe you me, the practices are going to be far more competitive. And by doing that, iron sharpens iron. So if the practices are all competitive and he is pushing guys and the joint practices are great, they may not play much in the preseason, some people, but you're going to see, I cannot wait to see some of these guys. And think about this. Let's not forget, Quinshon Judkins didn't have a training camp or a preseason last year because of the allegations.
And the contract stuff.
Right. Yeah, it started with he hadn't signed it, and then the allegations, and then he didn't had none of that, and yet he comes in and barring that injury, he had a good year. He had a great year. And imagine if they could actually block for him. Imagine if there was actually the threat of us throwing the ball. How that might help him. Oh my goodness, they might not be stacking the box. How many times was he hit in the backfield and still gained yards?
Yep. Well, there's another thing too. How many plays were called back because of penalties?
That is what he had some great runs called back because of penalty, and
Yeah.
then that was
Touchdowns.
part of the
Touchdowns,
lack
yeah.
of discipline
Yeah.
for the Browns. Bottom line, I am really, as much as I will keep my expectations low, I am looking because, and that's just,
I'm smiling. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to the season. I always look forward to
Oh
Brown
yeah.
season.
Oh yeah. I want to see what we got here. I want to see what kind of
Yeah.
fruition comes into this. Every draft pick but 2 are under contract now. So
Right.
Casey Concepcion and
McNeil
Emmanuel
Warren.
Yep. And I think what I was hearing from was like it's the guaranteed thing. The
Yep.
4 years.
It's
guaranteed.
just the language and it because it's all
I
the
don't
way
see
that
it being an issue this year. I don't know. What do you think?
oh they'll be signed and they'll be in because really this is not going to be a Shamar Stewart issue like down in Cincinnati last year. This is going to be pretty
That's
good.
Cincinnati. That's dysfunction.
Well,
That's
when
dysfunction,
it comes to paying people, that's the whole thing with the Cincinnati situation. But I think they'll be in. They better be in because if they're not, they're going to find themselves way behind the 8 ball, and you don't want to do that. Ask Brady Quinn. Ask Brady Quinn how that worked for him.
Yep.
When he didn't come right in because ultimately I think that he got surpassed by Derek Anderson.
Yep.
So
He came in late. He should have been ready to go.
exactly. So that was a mistake and just a very bad miscalculation. Now at least the NFL has slotted certain amounts of money and so on and so forth. So it's just a matter of getting these little details. And so what are we talking about? We're talking about Casey again is a first rounder. So okay, and then Warren is a second round. McNeil Warren is a second rounder. Again, they'll figure it out. All the other dominoes are going to have fallen or will fall.
I
With
think
all
when there's
other
picks
players.
around them signing for stuff.
Yep, that's exactly right.
That's like the other ones. So as long as it's not Cincinnati there, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm so looking forward to this. Now, when does so we've got the schedule release on Thursday, and
Thursday
as we-
night.
so that's going to be exciting. And then is it next week that we have the mandatory minicamp, right?
I believe so. Also, next week is Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano on Netflix.
All right, so
Chick
yeah,
fight.
so-
Chick fight. So
I know. You know what? I wish they would have. Did they ever actually fight when they were both in their prime? I don't think they did
No,
because they
no.
weren't in the same. Like
no,
Carano
I just
Carano
brought
was
it up just to mess with you.
No. Actually, I love the fights. I love the ultimate fighting and all that stuff. And Gina Carano was fighting in that other promotion and then around the same time Rousey started to make
Yeah.
her way into UFC. I wish they would have fought sooner, and when they were both really really relevant. That would have been
Yeah.
great.
Well,
But-
it's gonna be fun to watch. I don't know what to make of it, but I was gonna ask this: do you have any schedule predictions, meaning national games?
All right. So tell me this: other than our division, so we play outside of our.
We play the NFC South, AFC South, 2 games against New York Jets, Giants, and the Raiders come here. The Las Vegas Raiders come here. We go to New York twice.
Right. Oh my God! I can't believe the Raiders are coming here. Are we really playing the Raiders again? I thought we couldn't play them
Raiders
for.
come here.
Oh wow, that's crazy. No, I could see a national TV matchup.
I don't.
Not a
I heard
feature-
we're going
not
to
a fe-
Paris to play the Saints.
There was a discussion. So does that count as a national game?
Well, yeah, because it does in a way because that was the only one we had last year.
Right.
And it's a 9:00 kickoff.
Yeah. You're
on-
the only game going on. I think we could get
a
one.
Thursday night. A Thursday night.
That would be my bet, unless we're in Paris. Either a Thursday night or a Paris. I don't see us. We might be in a featured slot on like a Sunday afternoon or something, a 4:00. But that's not a necessary. That's not the
No,
same as a
that's just
Monday night
feature.
game.
Yeah, like we had that against Baltimore last year.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it
no,
could be-
I
It
could
could,
see
we
them
could get a game flexed to Sunday night if it means something.
if we're
yeah.
actually good, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll find
I
out.
think
We'll
that
find
there's
out.
going to be a lot of intrigue for people. The NFL, of course, loves New York, right? The Giants specifically, that could always be interesting. You make it a Monk and Harbaugh showdown. I know that, and I think it was kind of maybe in jest, but Grossi talking about, the NFL's waiting for Aaron Rodgers so they can figure out their scheduling because, of course, they love Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers.
Yep.
I could see that. But so let me think about the games that would not be primetime. The game against the Panthers and the game barring the Saints being in Paris, that will not be primetime. The game against the Buccaneers.
I'll be right back. Hold on. I'll be right back. Just keep talking.
Okay, I will. I have no problem. Keep running my mouth here. So let's think, guys. The Buccaneers is a possibility as a primetime game just due to the showdown with Baker Mayfield. Certainly, although no Stefanski there, it's a little bit less of a showdown. However, I would love to see Myles Garrett chasing after Baker Mayfield. Would be hilarious. The game against Atlanta in Cleveland, although it'll draw a lot of interest, I don't see that as being a national game. Then we're talking about, I believe that he just said that Lou just said the AFC South. If I'm recalling and thinking correctly, wouldn't see the Jaguars, wouldn't see the Texans. I don't think it would be the Colts for sure. Nope, wouldn't think the Colts. So Texans, Colts, Jags, and my brain is sliding here once again. But that's a good question, Mike. I don't have control to put your comment up. Browns and Ratbirds because of Monken. That could be a national game. You're right. Although they don't have, since they've got a different coach, I don't know. That's a really that's a good question and an interesting one to think about. So I'm thinking maybe there's one game that might be a national game, and I really don't care, to be quite frank. My goal is to not have to listen to the worst broadcast groupings in the league. And what I mean by that, I actually read an interesting article about the perceived bias of fans when they're watching their teams on national TV, and whomever is on the call, we always feel there's bias, so on and so forth.
Yep, had a full bladder. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's all right. I was just saying, Lou, I ran through it. I think maybe one. And Mike brought up a thought, maybe against the Ratbirds because of the Monken connection is a possibility. I see like maybe one. And as I was just mentioning, my goal is to simply not get the worst broadcast teams in the league because I don't want to be that bad. Because if you do, you mean you're bad. I don't want to hear Jonathan Vilma.
What if we get a Thanksgiving night game?
I mean, they're looking for anything. Who knows? I don't know.
I'm not saying because we're not playing Chicago or Detroit.
Right.
So,
or Dallas.
Or Dallas. Yeah, Chicago, Detroit, or Dallas. No, it's Detroit or Dallas.
Yeah, Detroit or Dallas. But yeah, I think it's who's in the. So I figured out, as I was mentioning, I don't think it'll be anybody from the NFC South. Or of the NFC South. Potentially the Tampa Bay game, potentially the Atlanta game, maybe. When you talk about you said we have the AFC South, right?
Right.
So it won't be the Colts. It won't be the Texans. Yeah, I don't.
What about this? What about Black Friday?
And that's a possibility. They're looking for games. I don't know.
Christmas again would be cool. Christmas is on a Thursday. When is Christmas this year? Let me look. Let me look at the calendar.
I don't know. All I know is last year Christmas was ruined. This past Christmas was ruined by the Cavs. They ruined Christmas Day because
Christmas Day is on a Friday.
Yeah, because they screwed up against
Christmas Day is on a Friday, and New Year's Day is on a Friday.
Right.
So obviously, yeah.
Or
it could be Christmas Eve. They could do Christmas Eve Thursday night.
It's a possibility. I'd rather it not be because that's when I'm with my wife and her family, and then that's when everyone comes over.
I'm with my family. Yeah, we all hang out. We played. Did we play on Christmas Eve against Houston in 23?
Was that the yes that was the game when
Amari
when
Cooper
Cooper
and Joe Flacco just put on
went
a show.
nuts. Yeah, and the last time we played on Christmas Day was when Baker Mayfield threw 4 interceptions or whatever in Green Bay.
Yeah, the 4 interception game. Not everybody still wants him back, which I love. So they run him out of town, then they want him back. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Black Friday would be the 27th.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would venture to guess maybe there would be one game, and that's all I would think of. I can't imagine it'd be more than one. I cannot imagine it would be more than one. And
I think I think we're getting the Paris game. I think we're getting the game. That from what I could hear, it's Paris, and we're playing the Saints.
Sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Thursday night game too, but not necessarily a Thanksgiving or
Right,
Christmas
just a
Eve,
regular
Thursday night, whether it's on the road. I always noticed this too. Everybody was bitching that we got rid of Flacco and he played so great. He had one good game with Cincinnati. He won one game with Cincinnati, and that was against Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh's on the road on a Thursday night.
Right. He immediately
they
came
played
out,
terrible.
and it was just, again, you gave him somebody to throw to.
Yeah, he had better receivers than we. Cincinnati has way better receivers than we.
Right,
did
and
last year,
and they figured out how to play pitch and catch against that horrible Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah.
And that was the beauty. So I'm not. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah, and I said this, man. Pittsburgh's like their thing is they're just going to keep running it out because people are going to come anyway, and if they tank, they can't afford it. If people don't come to games, they can't afford it.
Yeah.
That's really what it is with Haslam. I will. This is what I'm going to close on before I hit the close music. I know it's getting late. Thanks for letting me piss, guys. Appreciate it. I had to go. It was bad. It was getting there.
When nature calls, man.
Yeah, when you got to go, you got to go. But no, the thing. I think the owner does care, and he's trying to win.
Sure.
I wouldn't say that I believe. I believe with the stadium and everything that's coming out, I think we have good things to look forward to.
No, agree completely.
Especially with this draft and last year's draft. And if we keep drafting well, you put pieces around him. Shedeur doesn't have to be, Tom Brady in his prime. He could be Sam Darnold last year.
Right. Make him. He needs to be a game manager. He doesn't have to be spectacular. But
Right. No, I think there's optimism. So we'll look at the schedule. Beyond next schedule, Posh will be back with me. But Ethan, thank you for coming on. You're always welcome here, man. I love having you. Analytics, guys. Thank you. No, I appreciate all of you. Mike, thanks for the comments. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thank you so much. It was a great show today. I had a blast, and I will see you guys next Friday. We'll talk schedule. We'll talk mini camps, and hopefully everybody will be under contract soon, so we don't have to bitch about that. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it
either.
They talked about how tall Emmanuel McNeil-Warren looked, 6'3".
No, that's nice. That's good size there. Good size there.
Great pick, guys. Great job, Andrew Berry. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, give me a minute here. We're just ending it.